responsibilities of the church is to help us to live out our faith according to applying what Jesus says. One of the things that our Lord talks about is penance. Doing penance is actually rooted in divine revelation. Jesus said that whoever wants to be my disciple must take up his cross and follow me. Sometimes, perhaps people, when we think about the cross, we might be thinking more in terms of things that we have no control over, such as sickness, enduring difficulties, this kind of thing. But Jesus said that there are some things that we have to do on our own, voluntarily. This is what he meant by taking up the cross. Voluntarily, willingly, purposefully, abstaining from things that are otherwise illicit, making sacrifices, and so forth. But this is a mark of discipleship. The church has practices of penance that date back many centuries and seasons of penance. But penance is supposed to be a regular part of our lives as members of the household of God. It's not something that to be restricted only to certain seasons. But seasons such as Lent remind us what we need to be doing. And during Lent, we have things that we do together. So, for example, this day and Fridays of Lent and Good Friday are days of abstinence from meat for those who are at least 14 years of age. And Ash Wednesday and Good Friday are days of fasting for those between 18 and through 59 years of age. It's traditional that we do some things on our own besides the corporate type of expression of penance, as I mentioned, which means praying, fasting, abstaining, some sort of self-imposed practices. People can use the season of Lent, should use it as an opportunity to make changes of a permanent nature. So, for example, if someone is lax about prayer throughout the year, Lent can be a time for starting over again. Maybe the person decides, I'm going to pray the rosary every day during Lent. What I would suggest is don't stop doing it when Lent is over. Maybe the person says, I'll be going to daily Mass during Lent a couple of times a week. Well, once Lent is over, why stop the practice? Perhaps the person has certain weaknesses. We all have weaknesses, to be sure. Maybe the person tends to be a drinker or something, tends toward certain vices. Rather than saying, look, during Lent I will abstain from drinking altogether, and then going back to it when Lent is over, why not simply stay away from it during Lent and continue that practice? Lent should not be isolated from the rest of the year. And I don't necessarily mean that we can lighten up, that we shouldn't lighten up our practices after Lent, that we have to do the same things throughout the year. But when we're talking about things that perhaps we should be doing, that we're not doing, or vice versa, and we're working on these things during Lent, well, why don't we continue doing them when Lent is over? Tonight, the church will be so crowded, the center aisle will look like a small slit going through the middle of this big block of people, which is fine. Very grateful for people's interest. But our evening masses during the season of Lent, we have them on Tuesday nights, otherwise masses are in the morning. We get very few people. So I always wonder to myself, and I'm not thinking of any particular people, I suppose. What things are people thinking about after Ash Wednesday? 40 days of Lent. 39 more days to go. It's important to know what things are available in the parish. I have the list in the bulletin. This Friday and each Friday we have Stations of the Cross. And we also have fish bakes. Fish bakes are good. I would love to see people leaving the fish bake at 7 o'clock coming over to Stations of the Cross. Some people do. This Friday it's really a musical presentation of the Stations along with meditation done by the recording artist Julie Carrick. Think about this. Tuesday evenings, I'll be right after Mass giving a presentation on the 4 pillars of the Catechism. The Catechism of the Catholic Church is an anthology or a collection of the teachings of our faith. This is the year of faith. Lent is a time to do some studying. We have a mission coming up in March, Father William Casey from the Fathers of Mercy. You may have seen him on EWTN, which is the Catholic television network. He's coming here in 4 days worth of conferences, celebrating Mass, having holy hours, and confessions. We're doing it really to the people of the parish. You can bring a friend, bring somebody. I mean, this is the way to evangelize. We're supposed to be people who evangelize. Sometimes you can evangelize indirectly by simply bringing people to some church function. The Lord works in many ways. He can change people's hearts, something that they may hear and experience. You have great outreach, and you know people I never have access to. I'm not out in the world the way you are. Your family, your friends, and so forth, people in the community. So think about not only what Lent and what it can do for us, but what Lent can do for other people. What opportunities that we can share with other people might help to open them up to the faith. This is an important thing. This is an acceptable time of grace, as St. Paul points out to us, which means that many good things come out of this season. Praying, fasting, and abstaining. Things that will help us to open our hearts up to Jesus. This is really what it's all about. It's not about demonstrating to ourselves how much willpower we have. Rather, it's giving ourselves over to God. The Lord wants us to be continually reforming. One of the things that some people don't think about, I suppose, is that conversion requires constant effort. It's a daily effort. It's not simply a matter of I've discovered Jesus. No, we have to discover him each day and rediscover him. It's not simply a matter of saying, I turned from my sins years ago. No, we have to do it all the time. So we should make a good confession during the season of Lent. Sometimes I run into people who only go to confession very rarely, and they're in church every Sunday, and I'm wondering to myself, I don't know how they can do it, really. There are so many temptations and other aspects of life that can erode people's faith. We all need help, every one of us. We can look at other people and say, well, they need help because they have all these problems, but we need help. We shouldn't do that. Yes, there may be people who are living disordered lives, that's true, but that doesn't mean that we don't ourselves need the grace of God. All of us do. Next Wednesday, in the Diocese of Cleveland, at every parish, there will be 3 hours worth of confessions from 5 to 8. Diocese of Cleveland means basically Lake County and Lake County's west, not actually Wheeler County, that's the Youngstown Diocese. So you can come to confession here between 5 to 8 a.m. next Wednesday. Bring family. Bring a friend. Bring somebody who's never been to confession in years. If you don't want to come here, then pick another parish in the diocese. These are opportunities. Look at bulletin. Take it home. Think about it. Make some plans. Sometimes I run into people who don't even know what's Lent. I mean, Catholic people, 3 or 4 weeks into Lent, they haven't done anything. They don't know what's going on. Even people sometimes who come to church on Ash Wednesday, sometimes they forget. They leave church on Ash Wednesday, they don't remember. On Sunday and Monday the following week, they don't remember what happened, what started on Ash Wednesday. On Ash Wednesday, of course, we receive the ashes, which are really a sign of our desire to change our lives. It has to do with enrolling originally enrolling in the order of penitence, people who are guilty of serious sin. And people would get ashes and then they'd be getting their penance. After they did their penance, the bishop would absolve them from their sins. That's the origin of Ash Wednesday. And then eventually it became integrated into the season of Lent. You have to think about it. We're all people that need reform. We need Jesus. We need help. We need salvation. We're all mortal people. So the priest says, the deacon perhaps, remember, man, you are dust, and dust you shall return. You should think about that. This could be our last Lent in this world. We don't know. We have to make the best of the time that the Lord gives us to live the way we should be living. To live as people truly conscious of our need to reform. And to be grateful that we have the opportunity that we have to become more like Jesus on a regular basis. We should be thankful for the gift of the church. The church is designed to help us to live the way we should be living. To raise up people of God, holy people, priestly people. This is a gift, a great gift.